Mr. Guzman,
Yes, Mr. Ziff.
the standing rules, right here, I can let you see them.
turn them
The law says I am allowed to take a deposit. So I would like your driver's license.
Well, the Brown Act says I don't have to identify myself anywhere.
Then give me your car keys.
Okay, that's a fair enough deal.
If it's better than mine, I'll take it.
Nice negotiation, Mr. Ziff.
Yeah. And, just 1 second. Okay. There you go.
Cool, thank you so much.
No, I wasn't there, and I have to have scheduled, her flight's at 9:45, so I've got to, yes, we got to get her to the airport.
Okay, let's get started. This is a special meeting. So we're calling to order now, and it's a special meeting. Thank you all for coming out. We have a quorum, and I'm going to start with the secretary to call the roll.
Bieber.
Present.
Capps.
Here.
Cassivan. Philo. Garrett.
Here.
Calvin.
Here.
Catchin.
Here.
Lax. Marciniak. Morozo. Wait, no.
That was good. Got it.
Did I do it right?
Yes.
Petras. Here. Reward. Here. Roden.
Here.
Nyberg's here. Tash. Sorry.
She's
She's not here. Zip.
Here.
And Banks Broad.
here.
Do you have
Okay, this is a special meeting, and so we don't have a lot of our usual agenda items. And the next, our regular meeting, we will have the minutes from tonight and from the May 8th,
June?
June 8th meeting. Okay. So tonight, we're here to discuss a strategic plan for our 2015-2016 fiscal year, and the reason we're doing it tonight instead of last week is because we have to be out of here at 8 o'clock. We didn't have a lot of time, and I think that the subject really does require input and discussion because it's really very important. And also, we're here just with a motion to approve the budget for next fiscal year, and then there are just an item C, which has to do with some unused funds and how they will be allocated. You can see those on the agenda. So it's A, B, and C. At our next meeting, we will discuss those consent calendar items that were on last week's agenda. They will be on our next council agenda. Because this is a special meeting, there is no public comment for non-agenda items. And if anyone wants to check that, you may contact Aaron Martinez in the city attorney's office, who told me that. And that's why there is nothing on here for non-agenda public comment. We can have public comment on A, B, and C. We will take them as one unit. And if someone wants to speak on that, you can have 2 minutes to discuss 3A, B, and C taken as one unit. There's no name on this speaker card, so the person who filled this out, items 3A, B, and C, would you?
That would be me.
Okay, would you?
Ms. Banks.
Okay.
And I would like to speak to each item separately as you discussed, because if there's a motion that's made, I would really like to speak after the motion is made, so I know whether I'm going to be speaking for or against any motion that the board might make. And I need to say, as a matter of course, the Brown Act requires stakeholders to follow certain rules. And if they have a dispute with a neighborhood council or a legislative body, which a neighborhood council is, and the rules say that agendas must be posted in a certain time in a physical location. application.
Are you speaking on
I'm
3A?
being
B, or
interrupted
C?
right now and not allowed to finish. The rules say
What are you
that
speaking on, Mr. Christie?
I am speaking on the agenda item not being posted properly.
but that is-
I have the
that's
right
not
to
on
say
here.
this, Ms. Banks, and please let me finish.
Excuse me, my name is not Miss Banks. My name is Barad, and
Barad
also there is no.
Banks. I'm sorry.
There is no public comment on here.
Ms.
I'm
Barad.
asking you which item you're speaking on. That is not on the agenda.
This meeting is being held in violation of the Brown Act because the agenda was not posted at the physical location 24 hours in advance. This agenda includes regular meeting agenda items postponed to this meeting from the meeting last week. That means they are not really special items, but this is actually an adjourned meeting. Now, I have a witness that says your agenda was not posted 24 hours in advance. Okay? That's a Brown Act violation. Now, if the rest of you want to continue with this meeting with full knowledge that there's been a Brown Act violation in the agenda posting, you're all responsible for this. And I'm not sure you're aware of it. So please, end the meeting now. Do not discuss these items because you will be, in my opinion, it's all a Brown Act violation.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay, we're now going to go to item 3, which is the treasurer's report. And I think there was a strategic plan subcommittee that met. Howard, is that true?
Correct. I chaired the strategic committee.
All
I
right.
want to thank the members.
Okay, so now that input in that plan is coming forward under item A.
Correct.
All right, you want to do that?
You all have copies of the strategic plan that was hashed out, created by the working group to present to you, the board members.
I do not have a copy.
No?
Do you want mine and I'll share?
Oh, there, pass one down. Or Penny, give it to Sharon.
Who's got one?
Thank you.
That's fine. Okay. So, essentially, the way that the strategic plan is supposed to be worked, it's something that's supposed to be representative of the council's key ideas, as well as these items should be measurable in some way that we can keep track and see on a tally sheet that we've accomplished them. So if you'd like, we can go one by one. You're welcome to read them in advance and discuss, but allow me just to state to you the big vision first, and that was to bring people closer to government through proactive Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council outreach efforts that engage more Sherman Oaks stakeholders and make SONC an authoritative voice of the Sherman Oaks community who can bring about measurable change, improvements, and solutions to benefit the Sherman Oaks community. Any immediate thoughts, questions? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I hear you.
Editor
All right, that's perfect. Yeah.
She's just saying.
Is there any discussion?
Why don't you go on?
Yeah, okay, next. The big goals that we set. Number 1, educate stakeholders through programs with city department and agency heads, elected officials, and other speakers on city and Sherman Oaks community issues. Right, okay. And then number 2 is to increase stakeholder participation through improving community outreach strategies. Number 3, improve infrastructure within SOMP's community borders. Number 4, examine, report, and take action on city proposed legislation which impacts the Sherman Oaks community. Number 5, survey the SOMP community and establish partnerships with other community organizations such as service providers, not-for-profits, volunteer groups, and neighborhood watch groups in order to share networks. So these are the big goals. And then from there, we segment and break it down. Each of these have a corresponding solution. So number 1 would be to improve SONC public forums and meetings to more fully engage stakeholders by extending public comment time and reordering Meeting agendas, placing most engaging matters at the beginning.
What does that mean, extending public comment time?
Essentially, we have the 2 minutes, and Jay was the one who made that comment to the group. If you wish, you can address it.
What was your point there?
If you can refresh my memory of what we talked about. I know it was part of another discussion, so there was a reason why we talked about it, but to be honest with you, I don't remember what prompted it.
Because the Brown Act only says that 2 minutes, and it's also that the presiding officer has the discretion of how long someone will speak. So I don't think that this is something that we, as a council, can.
Well, it's not a question of going outside the realm. The issue, Howard, do you remember anything about what brought this up, or can you refresh my memory at all as to why we included this? Because it's been a number of weeks now. So.
Well, I mean, just essentially, I mean, the sentiment was that the 2 minutes was too short in some cases, and that we needed to have further comment or extended comment.
Was it an issue
Sometimes
of?
it's too long.
Was it an issue of why did we say extending time? I don't remember.
I don't remember that either.
I don't remember either. That's why I'm trying. Did anybody else who was there remember what this conversation? Because I don't remember using the term extending.
We did talk about.
I remember reordering was
Yeah, it was a big
we talked a
thing.
lot about reordering. That was, but I don't remember extending. Did anybody that was there remember why we used the word extending?
It's ridiculous.
The other person who was there was not here.
Oh, okay.
And they're going against.
I honestly, to be frank with you, don't remember the conversation on the word extending or why we discussed that. Howard, do you have anything else to add? Because I really don't remember.
No, I mean, it was just in the general conversation of discussing what the council development should be and stakeholders.
Can this be
So,
I thought we just
deleted?
I like the reordering part of it.
well, the reorder, yeah, the
Let's do this one
reordering. There was,
first.
I don't think we used the word extending. I'm wondering if there was another word that we used that somehow got substituted
no.
for this.
No, I promise I will.
Okay.
Well,
No.
then why don't you?
I guess one of the questions is, we take public comment before an item?
Yeah.
Do we take public comment after an item?
Yes.
Well, we take it first because we want to see how the public feels
Right.
about an issue before we take a vote.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're taking a vote.
Right, and then just where we at?
Yeah.
Right, but
So, but then, and there's two kinds of public comment. There's one on non-agenda items where people can speak on anything.
Right.
And then there's one that is for a specific agenda item.
Mhm.
And there are different places in the agenda.
Right. Where
Yes.
they choose the item to speak on.
Yeah.
I would like to take issue with that particular writing of it and leave it at the discretion of the chair, 1 or 2 minutes. If the chair really feels it's necessary to extend it at the time, the chair can do it. As an example, I would like to point out what we went through at the Land Use Committee during the El Bellagio debate. With that, we had so many people who wanted to speak. I limited it to 1 minute per speaker, and we still heard 13 and a half hours of testimony. That was a lot of testimony. Had we given each one 5 minutes, we would still be there.
I can tell you this, that this was not, conversation was not about extending public comment to 5 minutes. I'm not sure why the word extending is in there, to be honest with you, don't remember. As far as reordering, we did discuss where in the process public comment would best serve the public. And part of that conversation was having the motion, having whatever was having our conversation about it, and then before the vote or whatever, somewhere in that process, once the public heard what the discussion was about and understood it better, give them time to comment, and then we could either have further discussion or then vote at that point. And I think that was the conversation with reordering. Am I remembering that properly?
Well, it says reordering agenda.
But
But,
does it say reordering the agenda? Okay, so.
that was part of the point that I was trying to make, is
Right.
that they hear it before and then we discuss and vote, and I wonder if, do we allow them comment after our discussion but before our vote?
Well, it's not necessary, and it's
Right.
not in the Brown Act, so, I don't know what, you know,
It's not in.
what would I mean, you're allowed, what you have to do, you have to allow the public to comment on what you're voting on, and what we discuss has to be open and transparent, that's what we do. So
So-
that's when people speak, we have people speak before we discuss it.
So, and-
Well, and again, so if we were talking about reordering, then I think it was a question of reordering the agenda so the items that people were there to speak on, that we
Were
knew
first.
people were moved up first and
Yes.
didn't have to wait. That's now that I'm recalling,
Well,
that was the reorder.
that was
Okay.
part
That makes a lot of sense.
So that was because it came out of the conversation of getting more engagement from the community. And the concern was made that there are times when, because of where things fall in the order, like if it's a committee report or
Yeah.
something and somebody is there to comment on it, that we take those things out of order and move them up, so people don't have to sit through the entire meeting
Yeah.
in order to comment on it.
It's
Okay.
really-
Now I'm remembering, I don't know what
I
extending was,
think it's
don't remember.
really the committee reports that we've talked about, reordering where they come in, because people have to sit through all that
Right.
to get to where they came from.
I've always felt that they should just put those things at the end and do our business at the end and take care of the public first.
So,
Joe,
yeah,
could we take number one and just remove the words extend public comment time and then let it be full engaged stakeholders by reordering the agenda, et cetera? That,
would that
Sure.
please everybody?
Well,
Yes?
Okay, one of my questions is, one of the things that we often don't know is until people submit their
That's right,
speaker
we
cards,
don't know.
where it is on the agenda. So my question is, with that, are we creating more havoc by changing the agenda at the meeting once you know what the items are that people are there to speak on?
Well, the item, the numbers are still the same, it just would be taken out of order, which we do.
Right.
We do take things out.
We should also make sure that we note that in any agenda, that people aren't expecting something to come at the end and then showing up late to speak on it, and it's already taken. So we should make, somehow notify people, that some kind of disclaimer that things may be taken out of order at the discretion of the chair if there are people to speak on them earlier in the evening, or some, I don't know what the phrase
Or
is.
do we-
but-
Can we sometimes anticipate the items that people are and just move those up earlier?
Sometimes you don't know who's
I
going
mean,
to.
yeah, no, I know
Land
that.
use
Well, we do
issues, we
that.
know.
Right,
We do
those
that.
are
We do
typically
that.
the ones.
Yeah, because when I know that somebody's sitting there waiting to talk about something, I just move it up.
Right, but there have been times when, like, for example, somebody, I don't remember when this was, but one of the meetings, there was somebody who wanted to speak on, I think it was an animal issue or something like that, and they had already left by the time that issue came up. And so, just to be, again, we weren't saying this is some rule, we were just saying that this is sort of our goals, which is to be cognizant of these things and try to accommodate the public in these sorts of matters.
All right, so are we in accord to go and scratch the portion, extending public comment time and?
Yes.
yes,
Okay, leaving all the same.
Okay, everybody in agreement with that?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, number two, identify and engage new people moving into the Somme community.
That welcome wagon?
Sorry?
That welcome wagon?
Yes.
Something like that, yeah. And you know, if there's a way to identify that so that we can go and reach out to them, let them know who we are, what we do, and that we're here to assist and represent them and their issues with the city, and or provide them with information that would be helpful to them in dealing with the city of Los Angeles and the agencies and departments.
Did you talk about any methods of how you would identify?
Yeah, we did.
people moving?
Actually, I'm sorry, I don't, I was part of
Mohammed.
what? Mohammed had talked about there's actually some new services that actually provide information when you have people moving in the community. It's kind of like when you go to the post office and you move, they send you stuff. There's other services that are out there. And it may be something we want to actually take the monetary expense and apply to that. So we're, you know, if there's people that are out there that are notifying the community, is how do we get, is try to find who they are, identify who they are. And if it costs us some money, maybe it's something we have to spend some money towards, but that would be one way of engaging the members, is by getting that notification out to them, you know, as we go into our community.
Two things I can think of. One is a company called Moving Targets that does just that.
Right.
And I had heard at one time that the gas company will give that kind of information. I don't know whether they still do.
I'd be surprised.
What?
I'd be surprised if Casey told us.
Yeah.
But maybe.
Okay,
Okay.
so, and
Carolyn?
I wanted to say something. Yeah, I think when we have new businesses that come into the community, I know that, like when the Chase Bank, the Chamber of Commerce oftentimes has sort of a welcoming thing for the businesses, and we should make it a policy to have some board member, you know, attend those events. And I know I went to one when the Chase Bank opened up, and they really appreciated coming and being there. So I think the businesses really appreciate it when we show up, and we should, I think we fit into this.
include people in businesses?
Yeah.
But normally you have to be a paid member to go to these meetings, don't you, with the chamber?
No, what it is that the Chamber of Commerce sometimes will have sort of a welcome for the business, and we should work with them to ask them to notify us so that we can send somebody from the Song Board to that welcome. Or very good, I don't know, something. Yeah, like Medici's gonna have some kind of, you know, opening, and we should attend those things, those things. And we should make it a point to attend as official board members.
I wonder if we could add the words for number 2, identify engaged new people moving into the Sound community, comma, including the businesses.
Yeah, that would be
Or,
good.
or identifying engaged new people and businesses.
Business,
Community.
yeah.
Okay?
And that's a good idea, Carolyn, because many of those larger companies have mandates to do community involvement projects, and they have budgets for that.
And it's a great opportunity for us to meet the managers, the person who's in charge. So we get to meet the bank manager, you know, and then they know who we are.
Okay. Can we cut the red ribbon?
Well, actually, yeah.
You did it, Ross.
No,
You
we
did
do.
it, Ross. There we go.
But we do, you know, and that's, so it is, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, I do, that's a good one.
All right, so everybody in accord?
Yes.
Let's move on to number 3.
Please.
Use various methods and means to fund infrastructure projects in the Sherman community.
Yes, we do that.
Yep. Okay. Number 4, involve and listen to stakeholders and advocate on their behalf to city departments and agencies, and engage with the Council District 4 office in Sherman Oaks to improve early notification of city council motions, legislation that would affect SOG stakeholders. Yep.
My only comment on that is we don't know if we'll have a CD4 office in Sherman Oaks.
We will.
Well,
Oh, we will?
We will.
We
I'm
won't,
sure it's
it won't be there, but it will be there. We'll have it.
Okay, good.
Okay. Any comments? Everybody good?
It won't be where it is.
No, that
No.
was
People
good.
probably move it.
Okay.
Well, that's a discussion for another.
That's
Anyway,
right.
number 5, coordinate SOC activities and outreach with other neighborhood councils and neighborhood council alliances, such as the Valley Alliance and Neighborhood Council.
Could we add another alliance to that?
Yes.
Could we add the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance and the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or just leave it in the neighborhood council alliances period.
No, I think so.
No, we have to make it back.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's good to make a bank and the Neighborhood
And
Council.
sustainability.
Neighborhood Council Sustainability
Neighborhood council.
Sustainability what?
Alliance.
Alliance. Okay, thank you.
It's a
No, it said there aren't any executives. Okay.
Okay, next.
Okay, 1 second, I'm still right. Okay, this is the majority of one. Okay, all right. Page 2, the big budget, and we'll get to that in greater detail, but here's just the overview. Is that for the outreach, which is proposed for this year, is $11,450. Operations proposed is $12,050. Neighborhood purposes grants, $4,000. Neighborhood improvements, $3,500. And reoccurring monthly expenses, $1,206. And allocated for the elections in the spring, $6,000.
Okay.
Okay? But again, we'll get into greater detail when we do the budget. Now, the big score. Now, this is something where your comments would be helpful. The number of community impact statements that we anticipate filing next year, next fiscal year.
Well, it's only
How
an
did you
estimate.
arrive at this?
Nobody's gonna hold you to it, it's
Right.
just an estimate.
Right, so we plugged in 5. Okay?
Have
That
we
may-
ever made a community impact
Yes,
statement?
we did this some years ago, but
Right.
we really need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and we don't need to do this right now, but I'd like, after we adopt this, I think it'd be great if each committee would then take a look at the big score and come back and say, okay, what is our committee going to do for this? So the land use committee might say, well, we will file, 1 or 2 community impact statements. Or, we'll spearhead at least one committee. So that it's coming from, we're making commitments on that level. Because otherwise, it doesn't always happen, and I think if each committee could at least take responsibility for one, it would be a great way to make it happen.
It doesn't really work like
Well, I didn't mean that the committee would file the statement, but they would bring it to the board.
that. Well, it's what is coming to the board, and then it's made public once they get a council file number.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the council that would file the council impact statement. So, right now, what's coming to the council is alliances and neighborhood councils having the ability to speak more than 2 minutes at a city council meeting. So it's what's topical that's coming to the board, and then that's made public once it gets a number, and then the councils file a statement for or against.
Right, but there are also a lot of, items like, I think a good example is the, mansionization code, whatever you call that, the ICO. But things like that, there are a lot of items that come before the city council that we could, take a position on, and I know like with regard to environmental.
Once they get a council file number,
Yes.
then you can.
Right, but that's the thing though, is right now, I know there's a whole list of environmental, council files that
Yeah.
we could take.
Your committee could be on top of that, and
Yeah.
government affairs should be on top
Well,
of
see,
that.
that's what I
Yeah,
mean.
what's current, what's
That's what I'm
happening,
saying, is
yeah.
that the committees, I think if each committee could take responsibility for maybe identifying issues that we as a board could do a community impact statement on, I think that would help us achieve our goals, that's all I'm saying.
It would, but the possibility exists that for a given committee, there won't be anything coming up as a council file for the entire year.
But I think for land use, government affairs, and communication, there would.
May very well be, for
I bet there
animal,
are 20.
for animal welfare committee, there might
Yeah.
not be any animal
No, I
issues.
understand, but I'm just saying, if we could each of us at least look and say, gee, I think our committee could probably come up with 1 or 2 issues that we would follow and look at doing a community impact statement.
Okay.
Sure.
Otherwise, I don't know where they're gonna come from, that's the thing, where would the 5, where would 5,
Well, it comes from the government affairs committee, it comes from the executive committee, people who, comes from bank. We discuss this at bank all the time, but,
Okay.
yeah.
I can just say for the answer to that question is that there are some animal groups that want us to comment on a corridor thing, which they're gonna bring to land use, for example. That's what they told me. So that would be, they're asking for us to make a community impact statement on this particular issue that the city council is taking up. So that's, to answer where would it come from, that's one place where we would come from, is stakeholders or some group or something comes to us and says, hey, this is important to us, this committee is the appropriate place to look at this, and would the council take a position on it? So that's one way that it could happen.
Right, and then ideally, if we harken back to the big solution number 4, getting the council district 4 more engaged and getting early notification for things that may be issues generated through knowledge of those issues that would prompt us to go on and want to file a community impact statement. Okay, so the number 5, that's just a working number. And if you agree to that, that's fine. And then we'll move on to number 2, which is request for action to elected and city departments. And that is, how many city departments and or elected officials are we going to approach and engage on various issues? And again, that's a random number of 6, and saying that we're going to find at least 6 issues in the coming year that we will bring together. Okay. And number 4, collaborations, the number of events with electeds. And this could be virtually anything the way that we define it. It doesn't have to be an open carnival affair, but rather if we, I would think if we have electeds come in and speak to us about issues and such, as well as there are a number of neighborhood councils that do engage with elected officials on a number of things, from public safety to whatever. I mean, Van Nuys did one on, I believe, on sex slavery, whatever. Yeah. So the statement is that we're going to engage electeds in events for about 10 through the next year. Is that too high, too low?
That seems pretty high, that's about one a
You have
month.
10, you have
Okay.
11 meetings a year.
That's like one a month, that's
It's
the
half
Okay.
that, 5.
So should we
And
take
we
it
invite
down?
them, they come to our meetings, but it's
Right.
not really.
No,
is that
not
an
events.
That's 5.
Right.
Is that a
I
collaboration?
think 5 is more.
You want to take it down to 5?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. All right, and the second part of that is, the second, multiple parts, and then with 5 city departments that will engage in some way, shape, or form.
We have them
I
come
mean,
to
we have,
meetings.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
So
we've had planning and
Yeah.
what else?
right, and then beyond that, like we have, we're working with BSS on projects and such. So is 5 all right, or you want to
Yeah.
increase that number?
5 sounds good.
I think
Okay.
5 is good.
Well, I feel like I'm in the craps now. 5, I'm rolling 5s. Okay, and then city department, we did, and then 3 community organizations.
I go with 5.
5?
I'm liking 5.
5 community organizations?
Yeah, I think that one's downright easy. They come to us.
Well,
Yeah.
But the way you have it written, you have 3 at the beginning and 4 at the end.
Right.
I'm not quite sure where that's going.
Nonprofits, well, there's
The-
community.
And then
organizations.
Yeah, right.
schools, suddenly the number now has jumped to the end.
3, right, okay.
So,
Let's just say 5 for community organizations, nonprofits, exclude the 4, and schools will engage 3.
then put 3 in front of schools so
Right.
it stays consistent.
Indeed.
And what are we doing with the 4?
The 4 is gone, we're doing 5.
4, got it.
Okay?
Why don't we
Perfect.
All right, and then number 5, stakeholders increase stakeholder database. To be honest with you, we did not know what our
Our
current number.
database is about 4,000.
4,000? Okay,
Okay.
so we have 4,000.
It's very respectable.
How many do we want to increase it by?
How many people live in Sherman Oaks?
Well, you know, it's interesting,
How many
at our
households?
last meeting, Pauline entered about 22 names, that was from last week's meeting.
Right.
And if we continue to do that, you know, we're continuing to build.
Plus, we always get a budget, fair, we get a bunch, or any other, like when we did the
I can hear you.
when we give the tree giveaway, we got
Yes,
a bunch,
a lot.
and street fair, we always get a bunch, so, you know, I think we could probably do 500, let's say.
Just
email
Yeah, Rob?
I'd like to go at that one a little
Like
bit
10%.
differently, and that's that, I have been trying to work with next door to find out how we could use them for publicity.
Right.
And I just had contact with their, I don't know what you call it, their rep that deals with government agencies. And she sent me the information so we can post to the entirety of Sherman Oaks.
I already have that. I've been doing it.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for your neighborhoods.
No,
No,
Oh,
that's not the whole.
All of Sherman Oaks?
Right.
How many neighborhoods do you post to?
oh, I have no idea how many are on Sherman Oaks that are broken up, but whatever Sherman Oaks is what we
I
post.
think we certainly could increase by
10%.
500.
So I can give you the line.
I think we just give
Very
it a
easy.
percentage. If it's
Yeah.
Okay,
4,000,
I have
10%.
anyway, let's talk about it. But I think that's another thing to use,
We don't
right?
do it on every single thing because it's not a brown
Okay.
requirement, but when something special is going on, you
Just
gotta
like
take it
10%.
put up at least 5 or 6 this year.
Well, they,
Yeah, there's a big posting today on next door about our next finance
Yeah,
committee.
somebody else did that.
Yeah, somebody else did that, and that's actually, I think someone from Soho posted about our meeting, so getting some kind of ancillary.
What you posted, I did.
yeah, we're good on
I
that.
just asked Jill, she wants me to put it on next door, and she says yes, and then I do it. There's been about 5 or 6 this year.
Okay, well, that can be another tool, but for measuring purposes for Don, we have 4,000, we'll increase it, say, by 10%?
Yep.
400
Yep.
at least?
Yep.
Okay, 400. Okay, very good. And then number 6, and communication, contact with the stakeholders, we do that at least once monthly. Yearly, at least 15 times, I'm sure. And then what's happening,
What
with
does that
some.
mean here? Do we mean once a year?
Yeah, we mean like over the course of the
Throughout the
year.
course of the year.
Like
Throughout
we
the
do-
course of
the year.
Yeah, be 15.
Right. So, yeah,
Why wouldn't it be 12?
well,
Just very
why?
true.
Because they're, I mean, we engage them.
Well, some years they're
I mean,
15
technically,
months.
That's called the song desert.
But no, I mean, technically, we engage stakeholders not only via the board meeting, but also the committee meetings too.
Yes, yes.
So that accounts for something as well.
Okay. All
So
right.
we're there.
Okay.
Well, what does that mean, what's happening with song in the city? What does that mean?
No, I mean, essentially, that's our aim. is
Well,
that
I know
we're-
we had the candidate forums,
Right.
that was the city thing.
yeah.
Jill,
Now, and how about newsletters? Did you put,
Well, there isn't, I mean,
usually
there
you do
just,
2 newsletters a year.
Well, that's
These
part
are
of
the
the
categories.
yeah,
These are the categories they gave us.
right, these are the fixed.
That
prices.
gets, that's
Oh.
12
Oh.
agendas. Okay, then you add the newsletter, that makes
Okay.
13.
11.
You add usually the special notification about elections,
Right.
so that's how you get that 15.
Well, I'm sure that it well exceeds that number.
Okay.
Jill, can I
But
have
we'll go
some,
through.
just a quick
Go ahead.
note on this? That perhaps we have somebody on our board who's really good at, communication and that kind of thing, and somebody to spearhead that, somebody to be responsible for that kind of job. Because it's a big job, and if somebody knows how to do it well, makes a big difference for us.
Yeah, these really needs to be part of the outreach
Yeah.
committee, and now we're kind of revitalizing that. Okay.
Can I make a public comment, please?
Maybe get a millennial on the outreach committee.
It's,
I'm asking because this document was not on the table when we began the meeting and before my first public comment, so may I make a public comment on this item you're talking about?
well, let us finish on this first, please. Okay, we're finished on this document?
Yep, that's the strategic plan for the year.
Well done, by the way.
Yeah, very good. The working committee, who was the working group?
Oh, it was Jay, it was
It was,
Tom, me, and.
Howard did most of the work.
Yeah, right.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, you guys excellent. Yeah. Well done, Howard.
Well done.
Thank you.
That's up to you.
It was a team effort.
Okay, I think what we should do is,
Looking for
just vote to just authorize or to approve the entire package as amended.
Right, you're not gonna take public comment
Right.
first.
Can I second that?
Yes. Okay, and it's been moved and seconded that we approve this as amended. Okay, so now during discussion, Mr. Kuzma, did you want to say something?
Yeah, and it's really very relevant. The citywide plan for
Just a
neighborhood.
minute, how long? 1 minute.
I'll take less, I promise. The citywide plan for neighborhood councils has a requirement that the neighborhood councils are supposed to send out a survey to their stakeholders every 2 years to have the stakeholders assess how the neighborhood council is doing. Most neighborhood councils have not done this to the best of my research. So if you could please check with the plan on that requirement for neighborhood councils and when the last time was that you sent out the survey, because if it's been over 2 years, it's something you might want to include in your budget item for outreach.
And it is under the big rule number 5, to survey the Somme community and establish partnerships.
Oh, that's different than what is stated in the plan.
Okay,
What is
that's not-
stated in this plan is very specific.
Okay, thank you, that's very relevant. Okay,
For allowing-
now, is there any discussion on this? Okay, then we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstention. Okay, thank you very much, Howard and
All right.
the group.
Next,
So let's move on
the budget.
to the SARC budget for 2015-16. Okay, before we start discussion, you have a comment on this one?
I would like to see a copy of the budget first before I make a comment.
You should have it.
Is that the
there.
one on the last page?
Yes.
Right.
And that's what we're going to
My
discuss
previous
now.
my previous comment would be relative to that,
Okay.
so. thank
All
you.
right, Howard, thank you.
Okay, well, this is the budget as I proposed it to you. It went to the finance committee, we discussed it there, reviewed it, and now it is for your review and pleasure.
What percentage of the budget, I didn't do the math, what percentage of the budget would you say is for outreach?
Well, I have it broken down. There's a column there with the percentages, in the middle.
The middle column.
Oh,
30.95.
Is that 51%?
No, 30, oh, no,
That's wrong page.
that's,
What
The
page am I?
That's this year's
after
budget.
the third page of the big
Right.
vision.
right.
So,
But it's, realistically though, if you take that 30.95 and figure it into that election outreach too, which is 16%, you know, we've got probably 37% of the budget. 47 rather. That's,
This is 15-16.
Yes.
15-16 was attached to the joint.
Coincidence that the 6,000 for the outreach related expenses and 6,000 for the election is just coincidence.
Yeah.
So how is this, just give me 1 second, how is this different from this?
But one is this year's,
One is
one is
this
the
year.
one
Oh,
next
this
year.
is next
Right.
year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is our first
So-
budget with this one.
Okay.
Versus.
So next year, we have an election.
Right.
We didn't have one.
This year.
This year.
No.
Okay. So that would go up then.
Does the city give us extra money for elections in our budget, or it just comes out?
No, it comes from our budget as of now. Right.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions regarding the budget for the next fiscal year?
And again, I'll say as I do every year, and that is, this is just a working document. Throughout the year, we can reallocate funds as needed or required. So, this is just the initial budget.
37, isn't that fine?
It's 37,000.
All right. Okay. Any comments?
38,206.
Right?
Howard, I'm just, and maybe you can help me. I'm looking at the big budget numbers, 1 through 6,
And they don't match.
and that is 38,206, I believe.
Where,
Well, no, but you
when I looked at the big budget items here.
Right, because those are just individual categories that are broken out for the sake of.
But how could they total up to more than what we're allocated? Is the question. I guess
Right.
there's the overlap.
Again, look at, it's here in the budget,
Oh,
so.
There could be
it's-
overlap
oh,
between
wait,
big
you know what it
categories.
is?
It's
The
the-
1206,
it's
don't add that in.
No, the 1206 are just the monthly expenses that I anticipate.
That's
So
part
you
of the
take that out.
12,000.
If you
It's
take
in
everything else, that
website
should be the
maintenance is a line item.
37,000.
But he broke it out here so we know what our operating costs are.
No, so that's
It's
under
not to be
operations
added.
as
Yeah.
well.
It's a
Right,
break.
Yeah.
see, if you
Okay.
refer to the detail, you'll see the totals do match each of the categories for the operations, for outreach, for community improvement, neighborhood purposes grants, and for outreach.
Well, the explanation is clear.
It looks good, Howard.
Specificity always helps. So, yes, okay? So that's what I've proposed to you all, coming from the finance committee too.
All right, so we don't need a motion on that. Any discussion?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Very nicely done.
That's a lot of work.
And finance.
It's a lot of work. Yeah. Well done.
Okay, so shall we take a
So
vote?
now we will,
Yeah.
we will
That
take,
would be, the board has to approve.
we don't need a motion. The motion is coming from the finance committee, so if there's no other discussion, we can vote to approve and adopt this budget. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstention. Recusals? Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have one more item. Howard, you want to talk about C?
Yes.
One more.
Here we go.
One last
Well,
one.